Hi everybody, it's Colin Stevenson here, joined again today by John Lenhart, my hero. Hi John.
Hi.
Now, anyone that's been watching our videos, you will know that we have been talking about conflict, and we have the first two parts already up on YouTube, and this is the third and final, the conclusion really, and it's the unconscious confrontation today. It's the one where we don't actually know that we can take a step back and we can ask the right question to allow the person that's conflicting with us to have the conflict with themselves. It's amazing. And the man who has showed me this technique is John himself. So John, please tell us more about it.
Yeah, this is, we're not going to cover everything about unconscious confrontation here because we'll probably do a whole series on this, but we're talking about it as it relates to dealing with the online conflict. And I like to say, you know, the bully has never met a samurai. This is the technique to deal with bullying. So really what we're talking about is like the secret weapon, the secret samurai technique on how to deal with a bully.
Yep, love that.
So what a bully does, and I'll give you an example. There was a situation that I got called into where there was this bully, and what he had done was he had made this he'd asked a question, but it was really a statement. There was a list of words for how this person is, you know, this is the like gender specific term, and then this is the non-gender specific, and it was a post saying we should switch over. And he wrote a comment saying, basically it was targeted towards women to help women. He said, do strong women want this, or is it just the weak women? Which really isn't a question. It's really a judgment. It's really a projection. It's really a statement. And what he did was he would not answer questions, and you know, really he wasn't asking a question. And what he did was every time somebody tried to ask him a question, he goes, "You can't ask me any questions." So what the bully does is the bully does three techniques, and they are the opposite of the healthy communication we talked about. Yeah. So what the bully does is they make a flat statement on somebody. They judge you. The goal is to try to trigger you.
Yep.
So recognize the first technique of a bully is they're making a statement to trigger you. If you get triggered, if you address it, if you get distracted by it, you're taking a step forward and you've lost. The bully needs you to bully back in order to win. So that's the first thing to recognize about what a bully does. The second thing, and I say this, you know, whenever I get someone shows me an email or a text message or something and says, how do I handle this? I always say the first thing I always do is count the question marks.
Yep.
If they don't ask any questions, then you don't need to answer. I think that's probably the piece of advice I've said more in my lifetime than any other single piece of advice. If there are no questions, there's no need to respond. And what happens is the bully is showing they're insecure. They're not asking a true question because they don't want to be open to another perspective. That's really what they're guarding against. When somebody writes to you and there's no question marks, my first thought is that person's insecure. That person's not open to considering anything else. And so that's the second technique of a bully. The third technique is they will not answer questions.
Yep.
When you ask a question, they will not answer it. They might try to appear to answer it, but look closely and you'll notice they didn't answer it. So those are the three ways to find out if you're dealing with a bully. When someone sends me something, the first thing I'm scanning is this person a bully? Are they making statements, judging, projecting, you know, that type of thing, negating? Are they not asking any real questions and open? And are they not answering questions? If you got those three things, you're dealing with a bully.
Yeah, I love that. Now, just while we're on this subject, do you know that what I try and speak to people about as well is when they're actually putting content out there, it's looking for what type of attention they're wishing to attract. And this is a massive, massive part, because if you can ask people appropriate questions with your question marks, you're starting the whole interaction off healthily. If people are putting statements out there, they are going to encourage bullies to come in and try and bully them. So you see, so when people are putting statements out there saying, this is the way it is and that's the only way it is, they might have the intention behind it. But if the communication is not healthy, they're going to definitely welcome in other people that are not going to be as healthy.
Right. And like the very first two videos we did, we were talking about people's strategy for happiness.
Yeah.
And so when I see people put content out, everybody is trying to be happy. Everybody's trying to be happy. How they're going about it is really what thought process they're in and what the communication said. So the thing that we're talking about is your unconscious brain. So what I'm going to present to you is a model for the brain. And Colin, you put a post up asking people, what's your model for the brain? Because the thing is that all these experts cannot tell you their model for the brain, or their model for the brain is actually a conscious brain model. 10% of your brain is your conscious brain. That's like in our car and driver analogy. That's like the steering wheel, the gas pedal, and the brake. 90% of your brain's the unconscious. That's the rest of your car. That's the engine. That's where all your energy is. That's where everything really happens. And what I have shared is a model, a non-contradictory model for the mind and brain. And the big difference that no one else has, and I challenge you to show me anybody who has this, is that I believe all the behavior and all your energies in your unconscious, and trying to muscle with your conscious is going to make you sick.
Yes.
So that's the whole issue here. And so this unconscious confrontation is based on this model for the brain. So there's a couple of things we need to realize, and we'll put the links in this video. One of them is, your unconscious brain is the same brain that an animal has. So all of the animal testing is trying to learn about our unconscious brain. Yep. There's a very famous video where these two Capuchin monkeys side by side. The first one's he gives a stone, and he's given a cucumber, and he eats it. The second Capuchin monkey gives a stone, he gets given a grape. The first one sees that he wants grape more than a cucumber. He gives a stone, and when he gets a cucumber, he doesn't even put it to his mouth. He puts his hand through the grating, throws it at the person who gave it to him, grabs the grating, bangs on the ground, and goes off. Our unconscious is a justice, I like to say, monkey. I have a justice monkey in my brain, okay? And in the video, they say they've done it with birds, they've done it with dogs, it's any animal. But I have a justice monkey in my brain that is going to go off. Now, the second thing to understand about the unconscious brain is it is reflexive. Your conscious brain is direct. I can make my conscious brain do this thing.
Yep.
I can imagine, remember, I'm in charge. The only way to change the unconscious brain is reflexive, is you cannot tell your unconscious brain, do this, do that. You can't tell the monkey what to do.
Yep.
You have to show it, and then your unconscious does it. So what that means is if someone hits me, not even being mean, but they just brush up against me, my unconscious brain goes brush up against them, reflexive.
Yeah.
If I'm mean to you, my unconscious brain is mean to me.
Yep.
That's a huge point. Okay. I want to stop for a second and really make this point very clearly. All the chemicals in your body are either tension chemicals or release chemicals.
Yep.
When you experience tension, your body produces oxytocin, a chemical. Is it a tension chemical or a release chemical? Everybody thinks it's a release chemical. Your body produces a tension chemical when you are tense.
Yep.
Why does your body do that? Your body knows that the way to handle tension is to talk to somebody. Yes. Not isolate, talk to somebody. Your unconscious brain doesn't trust you to talk to somebody when tension occurs. It goes, let me help you. I'm going to make you more tense. That's the way our body works.
Yeah.
Now, we talked about this card flip analogy, 10 and 80. At 10 flips, everybody's unconscious brain knows that the red deck was dangerous. At 40, the behavior changed. At 80, they consciously know. Professional gamblers, not addicted gamblers, professional gamblers did the same test. And after 10 flips, they said the red deck was dangerous. How did they do that? Did they work harder? Did they think harder? Did they, think more?
They felt it.
Oh, they felt it. So here's the key, is the strategy. When you look at a professional coach and they tell you the strategy is to visualize more, to have more focus, to do more effort, they're wrecking you, because here's what happens. Our unconscious brain is always trying to communicate to us because it understands everything in 10 flips. We don't understand it till 80. It does it through tension chemicals. Yep. Those guys would reach for the red deck and they'd feel a little tension, and they were sensitive to it. I help people learn to be more sensitive to what their body's saying, so their body doesn't have to ramp up tension chemicals. So now here's the question. If you don't respond to your body's message of giving you tension, it has to ramp up the tension. So what is tension ignored? It's pain. I understand feeling pain from the outside. Someone hitting me, I get that. Everybody who has internal pain has it because they ignored their body's initial trying to talk them with tension chemicals. We need to embrace tension. We need to learn to embrace tension. When I walk into classrooms, I ask everybody, I ask myself this every week. This week, did you embrace this much more tension than you did last week? I can't handle the most amount of tension in the world. I can't. But I can grow in my ability to handle tension. Are you growing in your ability to handle tension? Or you are choosing to make your body have to go to pain to get your attention?
Yep. Oh God, there's so many things that you said there that triggered me in so many ways. And I talk to people about this all the time. We've spoken about tension is not abuse. When we don't deal with that tension, we're abusing ourselves. And this is the point, and then we'll blame it on somebody else because we did not make that change or deal with that tension well. We let it ramp up so that we caused trouble, and it was that other person that did it, when we could have taken a step back and taken ourselves out of the situation in the first place, which is absolutely imperative to people's behaviour. Now, when we're talking about the coaches, what you were talking about there about how they've just got to visualize and they've got to keep pushing and keep pushing. You'll get there. You'll get there. I am going to tell people on this just now, you're not going to get there until you stop pushing, until you take a step back and realize that people talk about their gut feeling, right? And they talk about ignoring this gut feeling. Now, yes, we have a universal energy in our body. I get that. I'm never going to deny that because I work with it. However, these oxytocin chemicals and these tension chemicals act just like your gut feeling. If you ignore these, you're going to be much worse. And again, people going through, again, I could talk here all day. You spoke about the conscious brain. People are in the habit of thinking. Now, when you think with your conscious brain. You don't think with your unconscious brain. That's a trigger, that's an automatic reaction. When you think with your conscious brain and ignore all signs of any chemicals being released, it's tension, any feelings, gut feelings, anything, you're just ignoring it. And the only way to get out of this habit is to create a new one. And that's to take a step back, feel and understand. Do not think. Thinking will get you killed. How many times have you heard that in a movie? In the movies where there's cops and a shootout, whenever you're in the army and, it's a war movie, thinking will get you killed, and it will. Feel it. Get your sixth sense. Get your feeling and start to get used to that. And, if it feels too much, take a step back and, and slowly get yourself into it. And what this will do is it will literally change your life.
Right. So what you're talking about is flow, and we'll talk about that another time. So you use your conscious brain to see what you're feeling. So there is a thinking step, but it's to focus on your unconscious and see what your unconscious is saying, versus when you're saying thinking will get you killed, it's taking a conscious step and taking more conscious steps and ignoring it. And that's where you're right. Thinking will get you killed. Don't think, do. What I like to say is, put your conscious brain on, your unconscious, focus on something and let go to your unconscious versus not thinking at all, zero. Yeah, you're in trouble. It's not thinking, keep thinking, it's think and then let go. Okay.
Yeah.
So the example that we have, and we have a short little video about this too. And I actually wrote about this in a title, in a post on unconscious computation, an article, is we had an example where, and this was Jonathan. Jonathan was executive coaching this guy at a company, and this guy shared about his 11-year-old daughter getting bullied. And he noticed she just wasn't herself. And Jonathan said, you could use these techniques I'm teaching you, unconscious confrontation. And there's like 8 versions of it. There's one that Jonathan likes. He calls it flip the pronouns. So what happened was the dad, because he just noticed his daughter was just in a shell. And he'd asked her, you know, what's going on? And she said, I'm getting bullied at school. And so he taught her, he said, here's what you do. Next time the bully bullies you, so the bully's going to initiate this. Next time the bully bullies you, ask him, would it be okay if I did that to you? And then walk away. So, you know, she rehearsed it and everything. Would it be okay if I did that to you and walk away? If you don't walk away and you start antagonizing him, you're gonna get hurt. Okay. But would it be okay if I did that to you? She flipped the pronouns. You're doing it to me. Would it be okay if I did that to you? She did that. And the 11-year-old, so this 11-year-old girl did that to the bully, said, would you be okay if I did that to you? And the bully reported her for bullying him.
And this was because he got these chemicals that she was feeling put onto him. Now he felt exactly what she was feeling. And this is where this turned around, and he actually felt as if he was being bullied, but he'd done it himself.
Right. So here's the justice monkey is compassionate.
Yeah.
That bully's justice monkey didn't think the bully knew he was bullying. That's your justice monkey gives you the benefit of the doubt. Your justice monkey goes, he doesn't know he's bullying. He doesn't know that. And it's not going to do anything to you. Asking that question is removing the compassion from the justice monkey. When you ask that question, the monkey goes, oh, well, is it okay? Because if it is okay, then you can't get mad when people do that to you. And you've gotten mad at them a lot. If it's not okay, then, oh, you recognize it's bullying. Now I got to punish you for all the past times you bullied her because I have a record of it. The unconscious has an accurate record of your past reality. She walked away. And what happens is if you don't walk away or you don't change the subject, the monkey waits for you. So if she would have said, is it okay if I did that to you? Because it's not okay that you do that to me. The justice monkey goes, oh, she's
right around again.
Yep, she's being bad. But the minute you change, you got to change the subject or you got to walk away. If she'd have said, is it okay if I did that to you? And wow, it's a nice day outside. The justice monkey goes, okay, the interaction's over. I can now take over. And so the justice monkey from the inside, 90% of his brain is just doing that. And it feels so bad. He feels bullied. And all he knows is she said something and I feel bullied.
Going back to what you just said there about the bullying, right? Going back about what has actually just happened is the chemicals have transferred from one side to another, just the same as the pronouns, just the same as anything. And this, I talk to people about this in domestic abuse cases as well, because when people are feeling feared at home, it's usually because one person bullies because one person's weaker, and it means that they can come over them. Now, if that person was to ask a question, they're not fighting. They're taking a backward step. They're asking the question, which is giving them power, you know, and it's removing the power from the bully. And then the bully's upset with themselves after that, and they can literally walk away. And if this is a repetitive thing, you know, it might be certain triggers. So there might be 5 things they get bullied for: not making the dinner on time, watching something on television. If they do this repetitively, they're going to literally cover all bases, and this will bring everything back to a standstill.
Right. So I'm going to go back through the bullying steps and show you how this is your kind of secret weapon. But here's the key point. It is tricky on coming up with a question. I get that, but it's not hard.
No.
The hardest part is walking away. The hardest part is not making a statement. The hardest part is letting it sit, or I said last time, letting it simmer. That's the hardest part for us because we want to do this, and the minute you do that, you're taking a step at them. This is all samurai. This unconscious confrontation is that moment in the video where the samurai takes a step back, and now the bully goes, "I'm coming at you," and the bully's gonna hurt themselves, because the bully has that choice to ask for forgiveness or to apologize or come at you. So the first step was these flat statements. When people are making a flat statement, there's a lot of bullying, going online. You're trying to rip people off. You're a bad person. You're an idiot. When people do that, what I always like to do, because they're judging you. So what I've said in the past is definitions. My first thing I try to do is I'm going to ask a question. My question is, what do you mean by idiot? What do you mean by ripping people off? What do you mean by, humble? We had that example before. What do you mean by, in the example, weak or strong? Weak woman or strong woman? What do you mean by weak woman or weak or strong woman? What do you mean by that? So now I'm asking them to define, what they're saying. That's my backward step. I'm saying, what's your, definition of that? And now I'm waiting to see if they have a definition. If they don't give a definition, we covered this last time, then I say to them, I'm just trying to understand you. Do you not want to be understood? That is a massive unconscious confrontation. So here's the reality. They're finding out more and more that, cancer, stroke, heart attack, depression, these things are coming from our brain. It's coming from the inside. It's coming from an internal stress. So do you want to know how you're stressing yourself? Or do you want me to not let you know it? Because it's happening. This is how people are wrecking themselves, is they're out there judging. Someone asks to understand them, and they go, no, I'm not going to be understood. And what they just told their unconscious brain is, I don't want to be understood. Every time in their past that they've gotten mad that you don't understand me, all those instances can be brought back up. And they can get basically a spanking on the inside for every one of those, and it hurts.
Yes, it hurts.
So that's where I ask a definition. If people don't want to give a definition, I'm saying, I'm trying to understand you. You use this word. I want to understand you, show you respect. Do you not want to be understood? I have just taken away the compassion from their justice monkey, and now they can never in the future get mad at anybody who doesn't understand them. And in fact, they're going to get in trouble for every time they ever got mad in the past. So that's how I deal with all these flat statements. And that's it. You will not hear from them. And just you won't have to interact, because they will run away.
Now, there's a lot of people who are online who have a following. And we had a discussion about this just a short while ago. And in terms of their interactions and things like that, can cause serious problems in their life, and it can lead to certain, death sometimes. It can lead to suicide, just because the interactions online are unhealthy. And you've seen it in the media, you've seen it with certain celebrities, whatever you want to call them, and you're also getting it with your influencer people. And my book, I'm talking about influencers, and I've put you in my book because they're imperative to society at the moment, so it seems, and they've got to have their place. Now, I believe that we all have our own place, but I don't believe there's certain influencers that should be. Now, again, there's a certain person that we were speaking about earlier, we won't mention their name, that clearly had some problems with that, and the interactions online. It can become overwhelming too if we don't know how to interact or how to change that.
Right. So a lot of those statements are always focused on appearance. They're judging. And so the thing is you get judged. And the issue is so they're making statements on you. If you feed into that, okay, and I'm going to say, even if you ignore it, because what happens is your unconscious goes, so is that true? And now that starts wearing you out. That's what I'm saying is the best way to handle somebody bullying you that way is to ask them what they mean by it. And you're trying to understand them. You're showing your unconscious, you're trying to love them. Your unconscious should give you pleasure chemicals for doing that. And then what happens is you can ask them, do they want to be understood? It's two things, you know, two sentences to them, two questions, and you're done, and your unconscious is actually going to energize you going forward versus ignore the trolls. I actually think ignoring the trolls is hurting / killing people.
It's just
So
as
that's why, yeah, I'm against that, you know. So the second thing is people who don't ask questions. You know, so when people don't have any question marks, that's when I use Jonathan's technique. Jonathan loves the flip the pronouns. Jonathan will tell you 90% of issues can be handled by just saying, would it be okay if I did that to you? Would it be okay if they did that to you? And so when someone just has no question marks and does this big rant, you know, and I told you this last week, platitudes. People who give you a platitude. I'm like, do you think you're giving a value? Would it be of value to you if I said this platitude? How much would you pay me to say it?
Yep.
No response. And they don't answer the question. Now I've just set them up. They're going to be miserable. Their body's going to come at them because it's like, so wait, is this a value? You keep doing these platitudes, but is it a value? Isn't it a value? And so that's the thing is when you see people not answering questions online, now you know, oh man, these people, you know, they are, it's a rigged game. They are about appearance. Those are the people I worry about.
Yep.
The people who don't answer a question. If I ask a question, or other people answer a question, and they don't answer the question, what's happening now is their unconscious starts going, okay, wait a minute. Why do you think it's okay for you to be an influencer and ask all these questions and get answers and spark a conversation when someone asks you a question and you don't want to answer it? And it's going to drive that person down.
Yeah.
So that's how I handle that. So the final thing is people who don't answer questions, what I'm talking about right now. And you saw what I did. My favorite technique with dealing with people is I call it the right question.
Yeah.
You know, when I used to help customer service and I used to be a vice president of a company and I was helping my salespeople and all this, what I would say is, you know, everybody wants to make the statements. You're not listening to me. Okay, I know you want to say that. But it's a statement on somebody and you might be wrong. And if you're wrong,
yeah,
you're done. Here's what you do. I call this the right question. Start the question off. Do you think it's right that you're not listening to me? That's now a question. You still get to say what you want to say. You still get to say what you want to say, but now it's in the form of a question. And now you're saying to them, do you think it's right that you're not listening to me? And now what happens is it's the same thing as would it be okay if I did that to you? Now you're saying to the person, do you think it's right what you're doing? And now their unconscious will sit there and go, do you think it's right or not? And now you've removed that compassion. Yeah. I do that with couples all the time. I say, ask your spouse, do you think it's right that? And then walk away or change the subject. They don't even have to answer. If they correct that the same day, they have a great thought process. Usually they don't sleep that night.
Yep.
The person who asks the question sleeps great. They don't sleep, and the next morning they're like, you know, last night you asked that question, it's not right. That's still a good thought process. You affirm it. If it goes further than that, they have a bad thought process. So that's my favorite technique is the do you think it's right on how that. So this is how you handle bullies. You should be able to handle, a bully's never met a samurai. And I just gave you the secret weapon of every samurai.
And that is the secret weapon of every interaction that is unhealthy. Somebody can take the backward step, they can ask the right question, and then walk away from it. You know, just leave it with them. So please, anybody that's listening, we understand it's difficult. John and I have both lived a human normal life. We understand. However, there are ways that we can make it better for ourselves. Ask the right question at the right time and do not step forward. It's brilliant. Thank you very, very much, John. I appreciate your time as usual, and I look forward to speaking to you next week. Thanks very much. Take care.
Take care.